Edo State Government under the Obaseki-led administration don do one training wey go run for 6 months for the implementation of the Edo State Regional Development Plan and Benin City Master Plan 2024 with 30-year span. The first part of the training starts on Monday, July 22 to go end on Friday, 26, 2024 for the Ministry of Physical Planning, Housing, Urban and Regional Development. The people wey tanda for those trainings na staff of the ministry and the Edo State Clean and Green Initiative Grow 100 under the ministry with FirstPlus planning consultants as facilitators. Dr. Hope Iyawe, Wale Adebayo and Helen Fadikwe, the facilitators, come carry the trainers through ogbonge talk lectures. They explain the process of plan implementation.
From your planning to overseeing, financing, developing, monitoring, evaluation and review. And let me let you know quickly that the aspect of planning and overseeing planning. Then for implementation is here overseeing, financing and developing. Then to monitoring, evaluation and review. And by and large, all this one will still flow back. It's more or less iterative. If you like, some persons will want to call it cyclic. It's not a straightforward thing. It's not just then you have the beginning, you must have the end. Are you aware that the plan implementation we are talking about today, those that have gone ahead or have won the contract, the consultants, they have to take into consideration the plans that were in existence before they started theirs, and equally look at what is in operation as at this time. And that is not all. They equally take the views of those that are dwelling in these areas. It's a living plan. It's not, I would not call it blueprint plan. It's more than that. Implementation involves collaboration among government agencies, private developers, professional bodies, and the community to transform the plan into reality, enhancing the town's livability and sustainability. Now, there are certain concepts we need to take into consideration in this direction. We are talking about transformation. We are talking about livability. We are talking about sustainability. Now, as we are living, the town lives too. You are a human being, you live, isn't it? You take water, you take food, so that you can have energy, and then your enzymes and all that will have something to feed on. The town too requires something like that. But most times, what happens? We find ourselves like those of us that want to fast and pray for some time to mortify the flesh. I will not say that the town wants to do something like that. Most of the life what the town is experiencing these days of what we normally refer to as multi-dimensional poverty. We know that's what we are experiencing now. But you are not aware? You are aware. Good. So, in that way, when we not say it has to live and sustain, it is something that it must be replicated. It's one thing we expect that it's now the norm to continue in that same fact. That means if there's a relationship between myself and yourself, that relationship must be maintained. And someone else can leverage on that relationship in such that it will not grow. It will not grow, and you will not have to have what we call networks.
Your actions is going to form the landscape of the state. I don't know if you understand what I mean. What you are doing is going to form the way the state is going to develop. The government has seen a need for planning, a gap in the structure of the government and the administration. That's why they set up the Ministry of Physical Planning, which means that while setting it up, the enabling laws for this ministry will have set out the functions of the ministry, which is what you as officers in the ministry will be using as your guide in performing your duties.
If the legal framework is saying you should consult, so you know that there's a consultation stage. If you are then into implementation and there is a legal permit stage in it, you know the legal framework for that. So your legal framework in a way tells you the process. Yeah? You may not know it all, we're not looking for 100% answer, but we just want you to start to link your legal framework with your implementation and end. So who will do what and at what stage? And you can only know that if you know your legal framework, if you know the legal framework, if you know what guides each NGA. Okay? So if you don't know what guides please give me one of the NGAs in the district. Maybe the first thing you can do, okay, so your page 1, this part of your NGAs. Okay, list out all your NGAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. If the departments are too many, just put this as departments. If you can list them. If you want to work in groups, that's fine by the work in groups. Okay, but I'm looking for individuals to submit. So first of all, identify all your NGAs, because if you don't know your NGAs, how do you know where to go to if you need somewhere? So it's important that you first and foremost know your NGAs. Yeah? Second thing that's also important, I'm not talking in terms of hierarchy here, okay? Because if you understand your legal framework, it doesn't mean I'm saying NGAs come to follow legal before NGAs. Second thing then is looking and saying, who is responsible for what? So understanding their responsibilities. Yeah? Understanding their responsibilities. So who is responsible for what? Yeah. And so when you know who's responsible for what, then you can begin to say, if you want to achieve a traffic-free city, all these agencies have responsibilities. They couldn't be those who do the street trading, that's environmental, environment, Ministry of Environment, electric street trading. So if Ministry of Environment is not involved in ensuring that street traders are not on the road, and when the beautiful road, when the street traders all come and stay on the road, and the enforcement agency does not enforce, you will have a traffic-free city. Okay? So I just want you to think about that, how your NGAs connect to your legal framework, connects to your implementation. Okay? There is an hierarchy of plan, and understanding that hierarchy is really, really important for your learning, especially those of you who did not study town planning. So, at the national level, anyway, to start with, the types and levels of the physical development plans are set out in the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Act 1992, number 88. So that's where you will see all the different plans explained and in terms of what they should contain. So everything in planning is governed by law. So the function itself is a statutory function. So planning is not done in abstract. I think that's one of the key things we should all know. Planning does not exist in a vacuum. It's framed by legislation. It's framed by regulations. And in some countries like Great Britain is framed by statutes. Because in Great Britain we have regulations, we have statutes, there are so many different, In Nigeria, it's clearly set out in that particular act that I mentioned. And it might be to your advantage to take a look at that act and just see exactly what it says about these different plans. So the first one, there is the National Physical Development Plan, Regional Plan, number 2, and that's where, in most cases, that's where Edo State will sit. But in this case, because it's national coming down, Edo State does not sit there. Because there's also the regional as per the regions of Nigeria. Okay? And then we have the sub-regional plans. Then we have the urban rural area plans, local plans, subject plans. But often, because Nigeria has not been very good are producing that regional level plan. Most states produce their plans and it's called regional plan. Fine, because of its context, the fact that it's high level is a regional plan. However, when you take the context of Nigeria, there's another layer of regional plans that comes to tie in what's happening in that region. So we might be looking at all of the south-south. I'm not very conversant with all the regions in Nigeria, the geopolitical zones.
For the training, they come also do group presentations for implementation process.
Speaking of behalf of the group, according to our Constitution 5 clause of Edo State of 1976, the Ministry of Physical Planning is empowered to carry out the following with regards to the regional and the City Master Plan. The first procedure is to be adopted for the preparation and review of the development plan. The second procedure, now all these procedures are backed up under that one just mentioned, which is the legal framework. Publication date of preparation of draft development plan, execution of draft development plan, submission of objection to draft plan by members of the public, schedules of summaries, objections and comments, consideration of comments and objections, procedure for amendment to draft plan, withdrawal of objection, notice of amendment, meetings of consideration of proposed development plan, additional power of amendments, objection to development plan, submission for approval, operating development plan, correction of operating development plan, deposit of operating development plan. Now, these processes are all tied together in in chronological orders, because from the beginning, these processes began from the drafting of the plan. When I was coming up with the need for the plan, with regards to that law, which demands that it should be legally backed up. Now, at the end of this whole processes, the plan will be signed into law through the State House of Assembly to make it effective and binding on the states, which then proceeds further to make the plan effective through the implementation of the master plan. The other aspect is that stakeholders are also engaged during the process of coming up with these various master plans, because it's not just the duty of the government alone. The government does not just plan, we plan with the people. So the people already have this, and the government proceeds to go ahead to make sure that those things are well organized through these various master plans.
Looking at the question that we were asked, that is talking about the implementation process. So my group and I came up with a number of processes in order for us to have a successful implementation of the master plan. So the first one on the list is to actually identify the need for the plan, to have the plan harmonization, to identify the need, to identify what needs to be done. Then the second thing, after identifying your plan or put your plans together, is to identify or to notify the different NDAs who are directly or indirectly involved in carrying out the plan. So the third one will be to engage the stakeholders, the public, the general public, to have their own inputs in the master plan, to have them contribute to the master plan, and also to share their concerns. Then the third one after the stakeholders, the fourth one after the stakeholders engagement, we have the executive approval. This is in order for the bill to be passed into law, to have a legal backing, so that in the future it is not contested. Then this one can be in two forms also. There's also need to take it to the House of Assembly to have it legalized. Then the fifth process is the core implementation. So this has to do with the capacity building, the training of the technical team, the people who are going to be actually involved in the implementation process. Then the last one is the monitoring. So these are the series of activities that will be carried out during the implementation to make sure that everything is done according to what we had in the plan.
For the question beginning to us, under the Physical Planning and Administrative Law 2022, applicability of Edo State Gazette number 22 of 2010 to this law, which states that the Ministry of Physical Planning, Housing, Urban and Regional Development is solely responsible for the formulation of the master plan. They are the ones that formulate policies that concerns the master plan. So, standing this law, we have the first step, which is planning, which is carried out by physical planning. This Ministry of Physical Planning organizes structures into hierarchies, into sectors, districts, and neighborhoods. The overseeing of this plan is carried out by the Ministry of Physical Planning, Ministry of Finance, Budget, Economic Planning, and Development. Then we also have the financing. This one of the steps, financing, which is sourcing of funds for this plan to make sure that it comes to reality. Then we have developing. When you get this fund, you develop into infrastructures. And the next one is monitoring and evaluation. This is the collection of data through different ways and analyzing this data collected to evaluate the performance of the plan towards achieving the visions of the sustainable master plan. Then the next one we have review. This is, you can have 5 years review. This is to review the plan and to check if the plan is going as planned or if there's any other thing to be put in this plan. So we also have stakeholders engagement. We also have plan approval. We have resource allocation, project prioritization, implementation plan, monitoring and evaluation. And we also have adaptive management. All these are involved in all these plans and steps, which is planning, overseeing, financing, developing, monitoring, and review. So,
your statutory instruments. Some groups, and you know yourself, did not even mention any statutory instruments. We just went into processes. So which means, how do I know God will legal backing to do what we are doing? So I think that some groups there was that big evolution. A few groups did well, were able to mention the legislative process, and I think the group was quite well outstanding. While they still doing the calculations and will tell us what particular law. The other thing I felt was missing, we're talking about implementation. There was a lot of focus on product evaluation. Implementation starts from formal adoption. And so I would have even expected you to start talking about when the plan is adopted. You will go through the plans as we said and you identify. And it would have been good, but no good did this, to even think about an example to anchor your point. You might say, well, we are taking this example from the plan, we know the plan that we are going to do, that there's this project. So based on this project, we know we will need to acquire land. So once we've identified a project, land acquisition. So which law deals with land acquisition? What's the process in that legislation? You have to follow that process. If that's the formula you're starting with, you will want to assemble a team. So what law talks about you and making sure that everybody works together? And what's that reporting mechanism? Yes, in the reporting mechanism in every organization. Nobody talks about reporting mechanism. You were giving back to us what we gave to you. That's not the purpose of this exercise. The purpose of this exercise is for you to take it forward, looking closely at your plans. What's your reporting mechanism? How are the projects taken forward? Whom do you need to report to? Who sets up the technical committee? Is that something that's written in any of the legislation? So taking even the land acquisition, what's the process? If you have to acquire land, it might tell you that if you have to acquire land, you have to advertise it. A group mentioned we will do publicity for a number of days. That group would have even scored a little bit more if it has said, according to the law, we have to publicize for 6 weeks, or we have to publicize for 5 weeks. That shows me that you know your process. So at this stage, I don't know what Suarez is going to be. I don't think any group here actually got the full answer. Some groups did better than some just focus primarily on, yes, we know the planning process. That won't project management because of managing the process. But in terms of legislation, what gives you a good action is what are the laws? What are the existing laws? So if there's something I want to do, for instance, I want to shut down the market, let's say for a month, because I need to build a road, I want to then relocate the market, how to do it back. What's the process of shutting down the market? It might be that it's set out in law that before you stop any market trading, you need to give them maybe 3 weeks notice, 21 days notice. So that's a process you need to be aware of. You can't just go to New Benin market and say, oh, tomorrow we are going to shut you down. Because they will go crying to the Oba and say, these people are shutting us down. They just came and tell us that they want to do something in the market. But if you follow the due process, the law says we have to give them notice. And we're giving them notice. Nobody can cry to the Oba. Oba will say that they gave me notice. It's in the law. So it's important. You know, this exercise wasn't about the process itself. It was so much about you knowing what your existing legislation says. And even if you didn't know everything, just being able to just approach. I think there was one particular group that actually mentioned about 3 or 4 legislations. So they knew what the legislations were there, but they didn't then apply. So they mentioned the legislations, but they didn't take it forward and apply it. So that application was missing. So just listing something to this one application is that ability to apply your knowledge that is important. How do I apply my knowledge? How do I know that what I'm doing is right? So whilst you got done well, some people did very, very well, but I would say no one did excellently well.
Edo State Head of Service Dr. Anthony Okugbawa Esquire, Managing Director of the FirstPlus Planning Consultant Helen Fadikpe, and Wale Adebayo for their talk with our Tory person Oluwatintomi C. Julius Konyan say the training na correct initiative from the government wey go produce plenty good results and also go invest on human capacity building.
They're here, they're learning, and government takes the issue of capacity building very, very seriously, and that's why government has approached and brought here a London-based team, one of our own, Mrs. Adesua Fadikpe, who is a member of the British Empire and is one of the best estate surveyors, I'm not so sure, quantity surveyors in her field, to teach our people, these young people, you know, how to do things. So it's going to be on for some time. This is just the first day, so I was asked to come and open it, which I have done. But I also had the opportunity through the facilitators to have interactions with these young people. They were coming in sets, and I was interacting with them deliberately to let them know that we have a new civil service, we have a new public service, and they were appointed into that new public service to become the vanguard of the change that we want to see in the public service, and that's happening already. So I also encourage them to ensure that they don't join the old, wagon of corruption and all the kinds of things that we used to see in the system, but become the kind of people that the government wants to make them become. Those who are championing the change and those who are championing the new way of doing things in the civil and public service. So that's why we're here. It will take, we will be here for, they'll be doing this for 6 months, but the training itself in the first phase will be for the next 1 week. I'll be here again on Friday to see how far they have gone. So I want to thank the government of Edo State for what the government is doing in building capacity. Because the government has consistently told us that if you don't invest in your staff, it is not possible for you to get the best from them. Like saying computer language, garbage in, garbage out. Sometimes there's even no garbage to put in at all. Like we say in law, nemo that code non habet. You can't give what you don't have. It is what you give to people that you expect from them. So with the efforts that government is making in terms of capacity building, the expectation and the hope of government is that we'll have a new crop of civil and public servants that will be difficult to beat in terms of their ethics, their approach to work, and the quality of service. And of course, and I've said this repeatedly, that the impression that people have of the civil servant, of the public servant, is the impression they have of government. Because everything that government does for And you know, in carrying out his responsibility to the people that voted him into power, he does through the civil service or through the instrumentality of the public service. And so government wants to build road, civil service. Government wants to deal with the environment, like this one, build space environment. It's the civil service, the public service. You know, government wants to collect taxes from people. It's through the civil and public service. And oftentimes, the impression that people get when they deal with civil servants and public servants on behalf of government is the impression of government that they get. So if they deal with a civil servant and they see that the civil servant treats them shabbily or is corrupt in dealing with them, they will say that government is corrupt. They will say that government is not a good one because the instrumentality through which government dealt with them is not very good. So all of that is what government has taken into consideration for this initiative to happen. So we're looking at a broad range of issues, including what is going on now, to change the approach of our people to the work that they do on behalf of government for the public. And so the tag of civil servants is changing.
State day clean. You want me to stay day clean. You want make road better, make everything day yafu. So because of that, income prepare plan, like documents, where it will show where everything will do. In prepare for the whole of Edo, income prepare them again for Benin City. But in fear they say, if we do all these things, put them for plan, in day paper. But if people not there, we go fit, make sure say that road, then build them, that daughter, then do them, that house, then do them, just between them do them. Then the paper could just be ordinary paper. So make life for better, income, employ young people. Because our young people can be our future. Income employ some very brilliant young people. And as part of that engagement of those young people, income, they train them, make them sabi, waiting them go do. When that paper when they finish that paper, we contain all these fine things. Not say knowledge is power. So when they get this knowledge, then they sabi the thing when them go do. Even for their own life, it go different because it go give them more confidence. If you don't know something, you don't get confidence. The more you know, the more confident you are. So then go know their right, then go know their left. Then go know whom they go waka meet if they want to do anything. So if they want build road, they don't say they have to go and talk to the people where they want build the road for. They go not say they need to go speak to engineers, we go follow them build the road. So then go gain that knowledge. It go help them carry out their work better.
The training was organized because a get plan wey Edo State government don do, and plan na one thing, to put the plan for action na another thing. So the Edo State government now, they wan teach the people wey go carry out wetin they call plan implementation, how they go take carry am, how they go take do the implementation of the plan. So wetin I been teach them today na about their role and the role of other ministries, departments and agencies of this same Edo State government in the plan implementation. Because if everybody sabi their role, they go know wetin they supposed to do and when they go do am. So now wetin I been teach them today. The Edo State government don't do well because if person no plan, it means say the person won't fail with that. But as they don't plan now, it no go stop for there. As the plan finish, they go come implement the plan wey dem do. Na that time, everybody for Edo State go see say wetin government bin get for mind o, they don dey do am o. Wetin dey the plan, they don dey do am. So na im be the plan implementation. And this plan implementation no be one person go do am. Na everybody go gather do am. Ministry of Transport o, in road dey there. Ministry of Finance, the road dey there. Roads and bridges, their road dey there. Even the Ministry of Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development sef, dem sef get road. So everybody e get one part or the other where they go play to make sure say all this good plan wey dey, e go come to reality.
Una go remember say Edo Governor Godwin Obaseki for April yarn say the master plan go cover all areas of the state including tourism, education, health, environment, sports, among others, to ensure ogbonge development and growth of the people and the state at large. Make una no forget say as we see am, Na so we dey talk am, we no dey take blame. From Benin City, Ekata Ojesele, TMC TV News.